Welcome back to another episode of Let's Grow Podcast. And today we have Melissa Irvin with BluBox Digital. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm good, Matt. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you. Thank you for joining me today and taking time out of your busy work schedule and just letting our audience know a little bit more about you. So let's just kind of dive in. So first of all, where are you from? Are you here locally in the Wiley area or originally just migrated to the area? Tell us a little bit more about your backstory.
So I live here in the Wiley area. I actually live in Murphy, technically,
Okay. Yeah.
but we do life in Wiley,
Yes.
so we consider ourselves Wiley people. But we've been in this area for about 10 years now.
Okay.
Before then, we lived in Frisco, so
Okay, nice.
we moved out here in 2013-ish to live on and discovered Wiley life. And so we
Yeah.
like the area, so we've stayed here. Originally, though, I'm from East Texas.
East Texas. Okay.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
part?
So I grew up in Sulphur Springs, Texas.
Okay.
So just keep going down I-30 for a little while, and that's where I grew up.
Okay. So what brought you to Wiley? Like, why from Frisco to Lavon, Wiley, Murphy area?
Yeah,
That's opposite sides of the Metroplex, right?
It is,
So-
yeah, and it was a big shift. But the reason was our families are still in Sulphur Springs in East Texas. My husband's from Mount Pleasant, so
Yeah.
all of our family was on that side of the Metroplex. And it didn't take long after Frisco boomed, because we lived there during that time, we realized we can't get across the Metroplex as easily as we used to be
No,
able
you
to.
can't.
So we moved to this side to be closer to family.
Nice,
So that's how we
nice.
got out here.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about BluBox Digital. What is it, and how did you start this business?
Yeah, so this business actually came out of COVID.
Oh, okay.
That's
So
really
it's a
where it
COVID
came
baby
from.
business.
It is
But
a
hey,
COVID
that's
baby
when
business.
a lot of people had time to
Yeah.
think about entrepreneurship, starting a business, and things like that. So
Yeah. So I've been doing marketing like my entire career in
Okay.
some form or fashion.
Yeah.
I've been in the technology industry doing marketing in some form or fashion
Yeah.
for my entire career. But when COVID happened, I had connections and friends and networking opportunities, and people were like, "Hey, we got to do this pivot thing.
Yeah.
What does all this mean? We got to get our business on social media. What does all of that mean? How are we gonna do this?
Yeah.
We got to do business online now. So
Yep.
how do we do that?" And that's where it started. People reaching out and needing
Yeah.
some help, and so I just started helping folks get their businesses online and get their stuff out there, and that's how it started.
It's crazy what challenges sometimes we go through and what springs out of it, right? Because when we talk about COVID, we have to pivot, and all industries had to pivot, right? And even in the real estate market, right, when we couldn't go show homes, and still did, right? Weren't supposed to, but at the end of the day, how can we pivot our businesses to more of a digital online presence? And there was either virtual showings or what platforms are we going to start talking to people on and things like that. And so that challenge of COVID actually brought people new perspectives.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
So digital, what things do you focus on with your clients? Are you more social media? Are you email marketing? Are you websites? I mean, because when you think about the digital platforms and presence out there, there's tons of aspects about it, right?
Right.
So where do you focus on for the clients that you're helping, or what all is involved in BluBox?
So my clients are mostly startup entrepreneur, solopreneur, very beginning of their business. So my goal with them is really to help them with all of the above, right? The overview. I want them to be on social media, because if you're not on, that's the media of today, right? You got to be there, So getting their businesses on social media, making sure they have a website, making sure they're capturing and utilizing an email list too, because you never know when something's going to happen and shift in technology, right? Where we lose major platforms in just like that. So we want to have a strategy of having different avenues for people to reach us online.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say that, right? Because I think of it as when we're on social media, we're actually just renting that space.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, what happens if, like, in the news, right? The government's starting to interview, Mark and all these social media platforms, and is TikTok going away, right? And if we only build our business on these platforms, at the end of the day, these corporations can say, you know what, we're done. We're going to turn it off. Look at MySpace, right?
Yeah.
Nobody even uses that anymore, right?
Right.
And if that happens, we have to, like you said, have different avenues in our business. And it's funny that you mentioned email marketing, right? And building that list, because when that happens, obviously we own that list as a business.
Yeah.
When we're gathering people's information in emails and we have email campaigns, we own that part. Right. Because we can use any email platform out there to distribute these lists and stuff. And so it's funny that you say that, right?
Yeah.
And I think email marketing is still probably one of the number one ways to get your business in front of your audience. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a ton of business done through email and email marketing. And even though everyone says, well, I always delete all that stuff. Well, I mean, yeah, we do, but you also read a lot of it as well.
And it's that exact point, because as a consumer, when I receive that email, you're actually getting your consumer to either one, open it and read it, but then take action and decide on whether they're going to keep it in their inbox. Are they going to archive it to maybe with their folders if you're very well organized, which I'm learning to be, or if they just delete it? But you had that consumer take action on the marketing that you sent them, right? And so to me, that's email marketing still works, because yes, it goes to spam, but the consumer is doing something with it, versus just scrolling on your ad or on a post or something like that and not really reading it.
Yeah.
So what are some of the ways that if I'm a new business owner and I'm just starting up, guide me a little bit of like maybe the first two steps that you believe that where we need to start on to have that digital presence?
Well, the first and foremost thing is you've got to have a website. Like, you got to have a place to send people.
Yeah.
If you don't have a place to send people, then we're in trouble.
Yeah.
So I always encourage people, let's have a website. And let's have a good website that has content on it, that's user-friendly, that people can easily find, that really starts your customer's journey with you. Let's have a website. And then after that, social media. I think that's the next step of where you got to be. And you've got to have educational content and consistency on social media in order for that to work for you. No matter what platform you're on. I mean, whatever platform your target audience is on.
Okay.
Don't always, I hear that people are like, well, I don't like Instagram.
Yeah.
Well, but that's where your audience is. So if you're putting all this effort into TikTok, making videos or whatever, and that's not where your target market is, then what good is that going to do?
Yeah.
So being where your audience is.
Yeah. I'm sure you get this question a lot from, let's say, your clients who are new or startup is, my target audience is everybody. I want everybody's business, right? I mean, as a realtor, I want everybody. I want to help everybody buy and sell a home.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we have to really pinpoint who our true clients are, right? Like you said, the target. So how do you walk me through or determine what a target audience is?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So most of the time I ask, okay, who are the last 4 people you've done business with?
Oh, that's a good way. Okay.
And who are your current clients? Who are they? What do they do? Where do they live? What's their income? Or if you had to guess, kind of getting some of their demographics around.
Yeah.
Because if I work with men and women, but when I was first starting out, I often wondered if I had a niche female entrepreneur clientele, because that was that's what I was getting a lot of, and I think that's just the nature of women like to work with women, kind of thing. But if you find that's a niche, then, that's what you need to think about. If all my clients are women, then obviously you got a niche there.
Yeah. So when it comes down to niche, right, how do we build that out? Because, like I said, if I'm still a new business and I'm barely growing, I want to help everybody, but at the end of the day, that becomes exhausting sometimes, right? So obviously finding out the demographics or finding out like your last few clients and kind of determining what that ideal client looks like, right?
Yes.
How do you determine the niche? Like, what is a niche? If I'm a new business, I don't understand what a niche is.
Yeah. So a niche doesn't have to be an audience either, always. Okay. It can be a niche in your services. So I'll say that in the beginning, like you asked me which one I focus on. Do I focus on social media? There are people that have niched themselves in that area, right? Okay. Where they only they only do Facebook ads.
Yes.
Like that is their niche.
Got it.
Their product is their niche. And then again, that comes with it a clientele that helps, but you can find, okay, who is looking for help with their Facebook ads, and you can narrow it down that way. And then oftentimes you'll have an industry niche. So like for a little bit, I focused on the real estate industry as a niche to help with my digital marketing products, you know? So, I think you just think about how can you narrow down, because I mean, if you cast a net over the entire ocean, well, yeah, you're going to catch some stuff, and if you're trying to, I don't know, catch salmon, or that's not, it's a freshwater fish. I don't think that's how much of a fish person I am.
Yeah.
I don't fish, but anyway, whatever fish you're probably going to catch a couple of those.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're really fishing for that particular kind of fish, then you got to know where to cast your net.
Yeah. You got to know where to go, how to get it, what to use to get it, right?
Yeah.
And so it works the same with trying to find the ideal audience or customers at the end of the day. So when it comes to, let's say, social media, what platform do you see that is still being used the most?
Man, all the statistics that I run for the talks I've done lately, it's still Facebook is number one.
Yeah. And that's what we use. That's my prominent social media platform, right? I'll post on Instagram every now and then and TikTok every now and then. But at the end of the day, me as a business owner and as a realtor, I'm always on Facebook.
Yeah.
And so that's where I still see a ton of our clients coming from is Facebook, because it's one that it's almost like a niche, right?
Yeah.
I'm pouring into everything, my time, my energy into Facebook. And so that's where we see the better results and stuff.
Yeah.
So what are some other marketing things or tips that you can give a client when you said, okay, website, then we need to get on social media, then what next?
Then, we start working on that email list too, because we want to collect that information, and that helps us figure out who your audience is too.
Yeah.
So that gives us a lot of data moving forward. It tells us who your target audience is, and then when we start engaging with that audience via email, it tells us what they like and what they want. Same as social media, right? You can start looking at your insights in your statistics on your social media accounts, and then start paying attention to what kind of posts they like, you know, what kind of information they're engaging with and things.
Yeah, and so that's what I like about you, is you teach your clients to not throw all their eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if you do that, like we mentioned before, if that one platform or that one marketing you're doing ends up going away or dries out, you're screwed as a business owner.
Yeah.
Right? You have to have just different ways, sometimes traditional, sometimes digital, and feed your business in those different ways.
Yeah, you know, I mean, prior to COVID, everybody was still really engaged in traditional marketing, right? And we were testing the waters of all this digital stuff.
Yeah.
Like nobody did video meetings, you know, that kind of stuff. So, but then COVID happens and it flips this whole dynamic. Oh, yeah. And then everyone was hardcore everything digital for the longest time, right? And now I feel like we're seeing it come back, and there's a fine balance of both happening.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you can put all your money into digital marketing anymore. It used to be the digital ads are really cheap, right?
Yeah.
They're not like that anymore. Definitely. You know, it's the cost of digital advertising is going up.
Yeah.
And so I think you've got to use all of those avenues, because I mean, again, I love technology and I love digital marketing and I love those aspects of it, but I'm like, you can't just sit at home behind your computer and hope all the business comes from that. I mean, you can, but that's a long, expensive game.
It is, right? And I like how you coach your clients and letting them know and educating them not to do that, right? Because at the end of the day, and here's another tip, right? Maybe sometimes as a business owner, we need to research our competitors. Absolutely. And if they're all digital, guess what? That leaves you more space to go the traditional route and get your foot in the door, because they stopped doing it. Yeah. Right? So a lot of times, like even in our industry, agents and real estate agents used to send out postcards. But what would you do? Throw them in the trash, right? And so everybody started moving to the digital things, right? To the social platforms. But people who still see value in postcards, now they're not getting 5, they're getting 1 or 2. So those 1 or 2 are standing out more than the 10s and 20 of postcards that they were getting from different agents in the neighborhood or the area that are trying to break into it.
Yeah,
so, you know, I love that. So outside of marketing and digital, what does Melissa like to do?
What does Melissa like to do? I like to be busy. So I like just being engaged with my community is really important to me. My family participates in Wiley Acting Group.
Oh, okay.
That's a pretty well known thing if you've ever followed me or seen anything about me anywhere. It's a community theater right here in Wiley. We got into that because my son found a love for theater really young, and that was his extracurricular. And then found out I like it too. So it's pretty cool. I've been on stage. My husband's been on stage. My kids have been on stage. We've all been on stage together. That's pretty cool. So we've worked both sides, on stage and off stage. So that's been a really fun thing that our family has gotten to do together. I guess the other unique space that you'll probably find me in sometimes is the homeschool world as well. I homeschooled my kids, so that's something that's a little different about me. It's funny. I mean, my business name is BluBox, but I like to think outside the box a lot too. So I don't always like to follow all the traditional rules and do things the way everybody else is doing them.
So what did you learn from your experience as a teacher, right?
Yeah.
Because you're homeschooling your kids, you are the teacher that has played a big role into your business.
I mean, there's just not one way to do anything. You know, everybody's different. Every business is different. Every business owner is different. Every industry is different. Every product is different. And that's something that I really try to bring to the table with my clients is more of, I guess it used to be described as a white glove service where it's very customized because it's unique. And I think you got to look at whatever unique situation you're in and adapt to that and change to that and make it work for who you are, where you are at the time you're there.
Yeah, no, definitely. So what has been the one industry that you helped and the one maybe marketing piece or post or something that just kind of took off for that client?
I don't know that I've had anything necessarily go viral for anyone. Everything has been because marketing is a marathon. It is so not a sprint. And people come in and think, oh, okay, let's do something that's going to go viral overnight and we're going to take off. And that happens. Of course it happens. We see it all the time, but that's not the norm.
Yeah.
That's not the norm at all.
And it's crazy how most business owners nowadays who get started, they want that, right? They want to go viral because they believe that's how their business is going to grow. And truly it's not. I mean, I see posts that only get 5 comments or 5 engagements work better than something that has 1,000 views or something.
Right.
Because you're speaking to that consumer, that client, versus broadcasting the net, like we go back to saying, right? Yeah. And so sometimes being an influencer or having something go viral isn't going to really help your business.
And sometimes it can break you. Because if you are a new business owner and you don't quite have, because we all have a learning process, right? Yes. It's a learning curve to be an entrepreneur. It's not easy.
You mean it's not easy?
It's not easy.
I can't just make one post and get rich?
Right. Because if you have an influx overnight of business coming in, do you know how to handle that?
Ooh, yeah.
Can you serve those people? Do you have those products in stock? Do you have the support you need? I mean, there's been plenty of times I've actually had people, even in my business still, there's just learning curves to every business, to every entrepreneur. And it's like, well, why aren't you advertising more to get more clients? And I'm like, because I got to figure out how to take care of the clients I got now.
Yeah.
Before I can bring some more on. I got to be careful about that, and how I'm growing and what I'm doing.
Yeah. And that's a great way that you put it because, like you said, if that one post or whatever went viral and you get an influx of clientele, great.
Yeah.
But if you're not prepared and ready to help or service them or deliver that thing, guess what they're going to do? They're going to start writing bad reviews. Customer service looks bad. Mm-hmm. Oh, phone time, response time, whatever that is, it starts killing your business.
Yeah.
You said it right? And it's always great. And if you're not learning in business, if you're not learning in your industry and what you're doing to develop and grow and be better,
Yeah.
you're going to end up dying, right?
Yeah,
I mean, look at,
absolutely.
and I hate to use as an example because it's sad, but
Yeah.
look at the restaurants, right? The ones who weren't able to pivot during COVID shut down.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the ones who had an open mind and started saying, things like, oh, let's do curbside, let's do delivery, let's do this, they were able to be okay with it, right? And so, you always, every industry should be, nobody knows everything.
Yeah.
You should always be learning of how to better your craft, better
Yeah.
your service, better things like that.
Yeah, yeah. There was a local business, and again, gosh, it just makes my gut, turn. But they had the business. They had the business. They couldn't keep up with the staff.
Yeah.
There was that side of it too, the flip side of it as well, and I've seen businesses where business is great, but maybe something dramatically changed in your family, medical things or kids or just life happens, so sometimes, you got to weigh as an entrepreneur, those are the things you got to tackle because it all comes into play.
Yeah,
all
definitely.
of it does.
So, what are maybe one or two things that you can leave our audience with that they can start at, or what they need to do to grow their business?
Learn, I mean, that's one thing I like to tell, but never stop learning. You have to constantly learn, and especially being an entrepreneur, because the market changes.
Ooh, yeah.
The business industry, just business as a whole, changes. Tools, products, services. I mean, everything changes all the time. So if you're not willing to keep up with that and stay on top of learning and continuing with even with your professional development too, but your entrepreneurial development as well, then I think those are important things to be focusing on. But, I mean, you've got to always be promoting. Don't stop.
Yeah.
Even when that client book is full, that doesn't mean you stop. You might throttle back a little bit,
Yes.
but don't stop.
Yeah.
Because if you stop, then you have to start all over from the beginning again.
Yeah.
And so, consistency.
Yeah, because, we see it in our industry in real estate, right? Where real estate agents get busy, they have business and they're at the top of their game, right?
Yeah.
But then when they're servicing them and they stop trying to bring in business because they stop marketing, posting, things like that, then when they start closing the business and they have nothing else, then the curve goes down.
Yep.
And it's just a big roller coaster.
Yeah.
And it's like what you said. We got to always be promoting, always marketing, always advertising, always talking to people on bringing clientele.
Yeah.
On a consistent basis, right? You don't have to hurry to it because, like you mentioned earlier, it's a marathon, but you have to be consistently handling all that so that way your business grows at a continuous versus just a roller coaster and a headache, because then that's what drives burnout.
Yeah.
And that's where businesses fail and they end up closing shop. So,
Yeah.
Melissa, how can people get a hold of you, right? If they need help with a strategy, if they need help with content or marketing or figuring out things of how to do the digital way, how can they get a hold of you?
Well, the first place to go is our website, and it's BluBox, BLUBOX digital.com. And we have something for everyone, no matter what stage your business is in, no matter what your budget is. I've been consistently working on strategies to help everyone at every stage of their business. So if you are just starting out, I'm building an academy, a DIY marketing academy, where it's just going to be videos and lectures and tools and resources to help you learn on your own, because you always have two resources. You got time and you got money.
Yeah.
In starting out, you got way more time than you do money, right? But you still need to learn. You still need to be pouring in. So as your business grows and you start to do this where you have more money than you do time to put back into your business, then, we can help you accommodate that too. I do strategy calls, coaching calls, mentoring calls, whatever you want to call those calls. We do those where we can just sit and talk a little bit. Maybe you want to do your own stuff, but need need someone else to kick around ideas, maybe need some accountability,
Yeah.
maybe need some brainstorming, maybe need to figure out what tools and what things you need to get to that next level. And then we got some done for you services as well. So those are a little more limited spots because, you know, we can only serve so many clients to create that content, but we do have a space for that as well. So yeah, I'd love to talk to you. You can get on my calendar at blueboxdigital.com.
And that's Blue, BLU, guys. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it. Love getting to just talk with you about marketing and digital things, right? So guys, if you're looking to grow your business and you need help in these areas, be sure to get with Melissa, BluBoxdigital.com.
Thanks so much, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Let's grow.